Hi, everyone. This is Jacqui Cooper with J. Cooper Travels, and I have Justin Smith here, and this is part of our continuing conversations about traveling around the globe and being good, eco-friendly global citizens as we travel to different locations. Um, those of you who follow my podcast know that I am in the travel space and I like to share stories of individuals and businesses that are doing great things. Justin and his company are involved with both travel as well as protecting the environment, and I'm always supportive of that. Justin, thank you so much for being here. And for those that haven't had a chance to listen to our other podcasts, would you just introduce what you do and everything that you're involved with?
Of course, and thank you for having me as always. Again, my name is Justin Smith, and I'm the owner of the Evolved Traveler, and we are an upscale tour operator with core components of sustainable tourism and building a sense of global community. So those are woven into every itinerary that we do. And our base is custom itineraries. So our clients come to us and ask us to design itineraries for them, or they can go to our website, look at the various itineraries and destinations that we have. They can take those and they can just choose to take them as they are, or we are happy to customize them. So we cater to small groups, families, couples, and solo travelers.
So today we're going to be talking about something that I kind of stumbled on, and I wanted to get Justin's opinion of it. I will show it in a second. On Euronews, it has an article called "Visitors to Palau are now required to sign an eco pledge upon arrival." So we are going to be talking about this beautiful location and their idea of signing an eco pledge. So Justin, you've been involved with sustainable travel for a while. What are your thoughts as I scroll down to kind of highlight and talk about different things that they are looking at doing?
Well, having read through the article, to me, there is more substance in other of the actions that they're taking, for lack of a better word, or their approach. I think overall they are trying to implement a really broad, productive approach, and I think that it is fantastic. That I like. I think that they're one of the first nations as a whole to implement such a wide scope of sustainable measures, and I think it's fantastic. I think some of the other things that they're doing have a more meaningful impact, if you will, than the tourism pledge that they're asking for people to sign, which we saw up at the top of the article. In that regard, I give them an A for an effort and a C on execution. Some of these other things are more important, like the sourcing food locally and other aspects that they are trying to implement. Reading the oath, again, it's very nice. But to me, it's a little bit of a softball pitch. I think what they should do, or could do rather, is provide a sheet with that to each of the arriving tourists that explains a little bit more about what sustainable tourism is and how they can participate in it. Because right now that stamp in the passport, as I say, to me, it has a little bit of a softball approach, a little bit of a softball feel. Yeah, I think we can pull it up. I think if you scroll down, it's actually there.
Let me see if I can scroll down. Yep, I see it. So,
children of Palau, I take this pledge as your guest to preserve, protect your beautiful and unique island home. I view to tread lightly, act kindly, and explore mindfully. I shall not take what is not given. I shall not harm what does not harm me. The only footprints I shall leave are those that will wash away. Again, great, very nice, very poetic, and it does sort of get the general gist of it across, but is it really addressing sustainable tourism? I would question that.
Well, one of the things that they talk about in the article is promoting local produce. And again, that is a great concept that, and that can be
Especially
applied.
for an island nation, because you think in offsetting carbon footprint, which is another thing that they are trying to implement. So that's why I say, I think some of the other measures that they're doing are actually far more impactful than this nice little stamp in the passport.
Yep, and what you're talking about, they're talking in the article about a carbon management app for tourists, where this new online platform will allow visitors to calculate and offset their carbon footprint of their trip, both their travel to and activities within. And they say that it's estimated that tourists offset their carbon through this platform could potentially generate over 819,000 a year.
Close to $1 million.
Yeah, for carbon reduction initiatives. So they also talk about the sunscreen ban because of their concern about the reefs and the water. And that they have a large marine sanctuary. So they're concerned about the single-use plastics and styrofoam.
Which they've already banned. So again, they've taken some fantastic steps already. I truly applaud that. And that's why I say, again, I think they've done some, really put some genuinely impactful measures in place. What's grabbing the headline right now is this tourism oath or sustainable oath. And again, I'm going to give that a C because I do feel like it's a little bit of a softball pitch. I would feel better, as I mentioned a moment ago, if the guests got a sheet to go with it that explained a little bit more about what, was behind that. What could they do while they were there that was involved sustainable tourism? What were some of the things that they could do to leave less of a literal and figurative impact?
So based upon your knowledge, are other countries looking at environmental pledges or ways that they can support protecting the climate and just helping in the environmental area? I know that the cruise ships, some of them are doing that. I mean, you're more knowledge based than I am.
I think it's something that a lot of the countries are looking at the climate change issues. And of course, that's a huge part of sustainability. Now, are they as broad as in regard to Palau, are they as broad as that? I don't know that there are that many countries who have implemented it on such a broad stroke. So in that regard, I really give them credit. I think it's harder for more mainstream tourism companies to give them, to implement those. Palau is a small island nation down in Micronesia, but they have a lot of things to protect. But it is a little bit easier, in my opinion, for them to sort of put measures in place to protect their assets. If you're talking about larger countries, Italy, Turkey, Egypt, is it as easy to do that? I don't believe that it is. Do they need to? Do we all need to? Absolutely. So this is where you have that disparity of, there's no one size fits all when it comes to sustainable tourism. It is trying to find a way to implement the best possible measures for your country, your destination, that's going to be the most impactful. And right now, Palau is As far as setting an example, as a general, setting the bar, I think they're doing a fantastic job. Limiting the styrofoam and the single-use plastics and things like that, because clearly those are things that are dangerous to the ocean environment around them. They are an ocean nation.
Yeah, and they talk about the rise of the tide and how that's going to impact them. I mean,
Just
similar to
yeah,
Venice.
they're just Palau is just 10 feet above sea level. So a rise in the sea level itself is, imminent danger to the country. So, they're taking every step possible and truly should be applauded. But again, it's, there's no one size fits all. They're taking a lot of great measures to suit their environment. But it's, you've got different situations, different cases for different destinations. But you asked about our, companies or cruise lines. Just this week, United Airlines has made carbon offset pledges for the near future. So you've got a lot of companies, a lot of destinations who are really looking at this as a serious topic. And I believe we're really beginning to get traction here and from some major stakeholders. And that's important. That's key.
And one thing that when you were talking that, I was thinking about is with the rise of the sea. I mean, that's, again, I'm going to simplify it so much, but, when the glaciers start to melt, then that adds more water to the ocean. Again, there are different reasons why the sea levels would be rising. But this is, like you said, one of many communities that will be impacted by that. So I guess, the biggest takeaway that I have here is, again, we applaud them for doing this, but everything still falls back on each individual.
Correct.
Everyone needs to be thinking about what we do individually, so that way we can make a personal difference, because when we collectively do this, then we will help everyone.
And that goes back, I'm glad you said that, but that also goes back to one of the previous conversations that we've had. We don't expect the public to know everything about sustainable tourism. So what we ask people to do is ask your travel advisor or your tour operator, because we know that this can be somewhat of a gray issue, not knowing all the components of sustainable tourism, or not knowing what's involved with it. And again, specifically, or when it becomes destination specific. All right, I'm going to Tahiti or I'm going to Palau. How is sustainable tourism different than going from Italy, Turkey, Egypt, etc. in that case? So what you want to do is, at least, the very least you can do is ask your travel advisor or your tour operators, whomever you're booking with, about sustainable tourism in the destinations they're going to.
That's really, really great advice. Again, these are topics that Justin is very familiar with, and in the podcast block below, there'll be contact information, so you'll be able to reach out to him to explore the various experiences and adventures that he is sharing. And then you'll also, if you decide that you want to book on your own, I also have my I Go for Less, which is a wholesale member discount travel booking portal, which is a little bit different because you get to book on your own. But again, both sides of the travel experience that you can explore. I really appreciate your feedback and, exploring this article. I know we both see things.
This was a good topic.
Yeah. And there are going to be many other environmental and sustainable topics that we're going to be, diving into. I mean, I've seen a lot of different products that have been shared on LinkedIn that can be used during travel, and that might be another future topic that we'll talk about. So for those that are following the podcast on the YouTube, definitely like and subscribe, so that way you're staying in the loop as to our conversations, because you might, as you decide to travel down the road, you might decide that you want to connect and actually enjoy some of the experiences. So thank you so much, Justin.
Thanks for having me, Jackie.